Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Wicked Arts. Wicked here, and it's our Fun Draw Friday. I decided to do this one as a time lapse just because I put a little bit more time into it, and I know nobody's going to sit here and watch an hour-long video. So, yeah, just because I'm so excited about me releasing my first chapter of my graphic novel, I just thought I'd do a little quick sketch and ink up of my main character, Rena, from Chronicles of Dawn. She's a Mayoran, essentially a humanoid looking person. And there's a whole lot of mystery and stuff that surrounds that. But basically, what I'm doing is I'm just trying to kind of sketch up muscle features, body shapes, things to just kind of help me, set things up first. So I'm just kind of just lightly, and I mean super lightly, just kind of sketching. And y'all may get a little tired of me, talking about my graphic novel, but have you ever just worked on a project for so long and then you're excited about it when it's done? Well, that's why I decided to do this. I'm still just real excited about it. That's finally came out. But yeah, I'm just kind of shaping out the legs, kind of doing like a downward angle, so almost like a fisheye view, to where like the upper body's more warped towards us, where the legs start to fade down towards the bottom. So I kind of got stuck deciding what I wanted to do with the hands. So I think eventually I just went with kind of like a semi-closed hand on the other side. I thought about putting her gunblade in there, but I think it was just going to take up too much time. And like I said, I'm trying to not bore you guys to death with super long videos. So these longer videos, I just kind of time lapse and just talk through. So I'm just kind of setting up the face and the eyes. You can see my head's kind of a little off kiltered right now. So I'm trying to decide like what way I want the head to go. So eventually what I did was decided to kind of give her more of like a facial expression instead of just a basic like she's smiling. She's kind of like raising her eyebrows, kind of like The Rock in a way. So I completely end up changing the direction of her head. So I just kind of do the usual just eye setup with some eyelashes and stuff. And then went in to kind of drew the eyebrows and then readjusted the mouth, which then, of course, forced me to reshape the head and draw it a different way. Um, and obviously, this is just like a sketch to ink type thing, so I'm not like 100% focused on like everything looks perfect. I just wanted to have some fun and just draw it. So right now I'm starting to put, now that I have all the body shapes down, I'm putting in the details. So I'm making more solid lines to go in, but not pressing down too hard because eventually I am going to go over it in an ink pen. But the main character, she has a pair of goggles, and just because it's not just because there's kind of a steampunk aesthetic to the Mayorans themselves, it's because she actually wears all these technological gadgets that she's come up with that her father's kind of taught her how to mess around with machines. Um, and so she has to pull those down when she uses the big electric stuff so she doesn't blind herself. But in her original, so this is not her finalized design of what she ends up looking like later on in the story, but this is just the first time we meet her. She's kind of got this red pullover coat, kind of rolled up at the sleeves. So I wanted to make sure I draped those over and rolled those up to the biceps. And then just kind of adjusting the arm. I notice sometimes I can tend to kind of lean back towards giving my female characters more manly, muscular type. So I'm trying to like dwindle it down some so she's not like super buff or anything. Not that there aren't comic book characters like that have muscles, but I try to keep her with more of a toned down look just because she's also only a teenager. She's only like 17 years old at the time of this story. Um, and then she also has like a red cloth that she drapes down that comes under the belt. Mostly, most of the time you want it to serve a purpose, but this time it was more for an aesthetic purpose for combat, so it could kind of flow into the wind. And then, of course, she always has gloves on just because she's always tinkering with things. She doesn't want to cut her fingers. So, like I said, some stuff serves a purpose. The strap and attachments around her leg is where she keeps all her tools or little things that she needs to mess with things. Usually when she's doing this, she's got a mask on too, but I wanted to show her face. Just because when she's not exactly well off, I guess you'd say. Like she knows how to survive and things like that. She's not necessarily poor, but she doesn't really have money. Her father's kind of raised her to kind of just survive out in the wilderness and not really need those things. And the technology she does have, she kind of just gets from scrap heats, or she gets that 5 finger discount. Um, but yeah, so I just wanted to go in and start inking. So the first thing I do is just kind of start tracing over everything. No really thickening of lines or anything at the moment. Just kind of going around, just kind of tracing everything up, just so that I have everything in a foundation first. Because I drew so light, the pencil sketches and stuff are still there, so I want to be able to erase that out. The only way that I can do that is just to go ahead and ink everything in first, and then I can just take like a big eraser, like gum eraser, and just kind of erase everything out. And it makes it a lot easier from that point to go in and start like putting the thicker inks in. Now I'm trying, not in this video, but I am trying a different style of shading and stuff for the actual comics themselves, or the graphic novels themselves when they come out. So like the next graphic novel, since it's going to be a little bit darker, still with the same characters, I'm going to be adding like a different type of shading and coloring with a little bit more detail, because I wanted this first one to kind of just be a test run, just to see what I was capable of completing. So you can see I use that big eraser to go in and get out all the pencil line sketches, and now I'm just going in and doing like I inked in my comic. I did more of kind of like, if you've ever seen an old animated show called um, Unlimited Spider-Man, or Spider-Man Unlimited, or even some of the old Hellboy comics. It's kind of more along the lines of that, where you got these really thick black areas kind of taking up most of the spot with not too much detail anywhere else. That way you can just lay down a flat color with a light shadow over in certain areas digitally. So my shading for this is real basic. So I'm hitting up those edges of where there's any folds or overlaps from one leg to another, or from the clothing itself, just to kind of give it shape and form. So it's really not too far from. I think I went into a little bit more detail in the graphic novel, but as far as the drawing it on paper, um, it's essentially the same thing. So just hitting up those edges where it's darkest, kind of going around and just making it nice and solid. And then if I wanted to add in a few extra lines, I did. Um, but again, I was trying to save on time, so I didn't like focus too much on trying to get caught up in that. So I'm just, again, just highlighting shapes and forms with really dark shadows and putting in those line details on the collar of her jacket. Um, and then like areas of overlap with the clothes, even on the skin and stuff like that, I try to round and curve into that, because that makes it easier to have it shape what it is you're trying to shape. Um, but other than that, once I finished kind of going around the fingers, I think I went up into the hair and kind of put like a base shadow for where the hair is touching the braids into the hair into the goggles. And then after that, I did my usual thing that I do when I draw on paper, is I like to thicken up the edge. So you'll see here in a minute, I'm going to go around and start just thickening the outer layer. And what it does, just kind of helps it pop more off the page. It's not something you have to do. It's just something I choose to do. Like, I think it looks really cool if you can get a white colored pencil on like the tan paper, and it just really kind of helps it. Now, some of the areas where it was super dark, I didn't do it to those spots, but just anywhere there's negative space with a thin line, I just went around, thickened it up again, just to kind of make it pop. But that's pretty much gonna do it for our Fun Dry Friday video. Again, my graphic novel is up for sale on Lulu. I have links down in the description below, so you have a physical copy. It's a little bit more expensive. There's going to be an Amazon version coming out, and I have an ebook on Lulu. I also have it on Amazon, which again, I have a physical copy coming out for that. It'll be a little bit cheaper, so hopefully I get that done soon, and you'll be able to purchase that if you'd like. Other than that, thanks for watching. Remember to take care of yourself, keep sketching, and I'll see you in the next one, all right? Bye.